Moose and Keith, sponsored by Thrive Fantasy. Thrive Fantasy. Prop up on Thrive Fantasy this season. And now, here are your hosts, Mark Malusis and Keith Irizarry.
Is that Keith Irizarry or is that Robert Saleh? You look great. Look at you dressing up early for Halloween.
You know, I'm not going to be able to be here on Monday with you, so I figured let's dress up. And listen, the truth of the matter, the fact is, Robert Saleh and I have never been in the same room together. So there's still no facts out there that we are not the same person. I'm just throwing it out there. We've never been in the same room together.
You're looking good. You're looking
Thank
good.
you.
I got to tell you, though, but we talked a little bit off.
Listen, I'm going to interrupt. I have receipts, all right? I'm keeping receipts on some of the things that you've said, Moose, over the last 8.5 weeks. I'm keeping receipts for all the times that you wanted to go out there and mock a player, or if you wanted to mock a team, or you wanted to mock my Jets.
Yeah.
I want to let you know I got receipts, and they're color-coded, okay? They're color-coded. Yep, that's right.
Oh, they look like those are a hell of a set of receipts. They look like Powerball tickets.
if only. All right, can I take this off? Is this cool? Can I take this off? Is that enough?
Can you just keep it on for a second? Because
All right.
It might be, like, honestly, the biggest set of headsets that I've ever seen in my life.
Look at this thing.
Look at the sheer size. Like, I've got a bigger head than you. I can't imagine what those things would look like on mine. Like, it's almost like you should be talking, like you should be down in like Cape Canaveral and speaking to astronauts in space.
I have
headsets. I was like, I thought when we first hopped on, I was like, wow, that is amazing. Where do you get that at, like, Halloween City? Where do you go to get those? And Keith's like, no, these are real. I an old pair of headsets. I go, I want to think, like, what games were you calling with those headsets?
Look, that's the end. It's real.
Those are huge, dude.
Yeah. So where these came from? I have an old, like, Mackie board, the whole setup. It was like 2000 and maybe 3, I think. Me and two of my buddies decided to try to launch our own network. And we were just calling, like, mid-major sports. And this was what we could afford. That was it.
I understand. They're a mess. It's a thing of beauty.
Yeah.
Like, those things
I'll put them back on for you. Every time we have a guest, I'll put them back on. All right.
Dude, you look great. You look great.
Thank you.
You look awesome.
And now
That's
if it's a
nice.
little...
Yeah, look at you, man. You're a good-looking individual.
Thank you.
Look at you. You're a good-looking individual. No, it's good, man. You look great. You got into it.
Hey, listen, all gas, no breaks. It's how I do a show. It's how I do my life. It's how I do friendships. All gas, no breaks. All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna miss you on Halloween, but you've got family stuff, so but which I can totally get and totally understand. So, but you bought in. I got to figure out what I'm gonna do for Monday now.
Yeah. Who's filling in for me
Justin
again? I'm
Henry.
blanking. Justin Henry. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So Justin Henry
and myself. He'll be stepping in, filling in for your shoes on Monday for Halloween. But
he should dress as me.
Yeah, I would say. I mean. You'd have to get a bald cat. Does Justin have hair? I don't know. Does Justin have hair?
I'm not sure. Sure. Yeah.
I don't know. But, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I think you look awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome. You got into it. Yes, no doubt about it. That's a way to kick off a Friday. That's what we were teasing yesterday. Saying Keith's got a big surprise for everybody. Dressing up as Robert Saleh, headset mic and all. Like he's on the sidelines. And he's got receipts as well. It might be for a suit that he just cleaned, but they're receipts.
Don't mock us. Pink one, a green one, an orange one, blue.
Yes.
Ernie wanted me to tape these all over me. Like, Ernie was like, you should just tape the receipts onto you. I decided against it.
I agree with your assessment. I would not have taped them onto you.
Yeah.
Well, you could have glued them onto your head.
On my dome. Yeah, just have random receipts hanging from my dome. But then how would I fit that massive headset on? I'm just saying.
Well, it's so big it would go over it. It's like, It's almost like when you put that on, it's like I'm getting, and it's not exactly yet. Remember, did you watch the Jetsons when you were growing up?
Of course,
the
meet
big gazoo,
George Jetson.
the big gazoo who had the huge head.
Yes.
Yes, like when you have those headsets on. Number one, you don't have a big head. Number two is if you did, not a big deal. But the headsets are just they make your head look even smaller.
Yeah. How often do you because now we tend to have like these lav mics or like or what you have right there, like a stick mic. How often do you put headphones on for broadcasts?
I do it for Rutgers games pre and
You
post.
do, okay.
Yeah,
All right.
I do it for that. I've done it for like we have a remote coming up outside I think November 13th for a Giant game for the Sunday morning show that we're going to do at a place out just outside the stadium. We'll use it there, but usually just remotes and stuff. I've got a stick mic here, and I've got kind of the inner ear monitors that I put on. But I used to have the headset, but unfortunately they wear out after a while.
But like for you, who's got like nice hair, you have to worry about where you put the back of the headset, right? Like you have to
no doubt, because then if you don't go to the bathroom or look at a mirror or whatever it might be, you'll have like the flyaways.
You're gonna end up with random pieces of hair just popping up. Like you almost
up. Or
if you're using the Sennheiser, do you split it open, right? Like split it open so like there's a little bit on the back, little here, right?
Yes, that's what you try and do. Yeah,
I'll tell you, I know, but how about this? So I'll tell you bald head problems though. So for MLB Network, when we do Strike Zone and some of the other shows where it's just voice of, they put you in a booth and then you get a headset. And the first time I did it like 3 years ago, I didn't realize how tight the headset was. I ended up with a big dent in my head. Like literally, because it was like digging into my head, and it looked like someone took a chunk of my head. I'm like, oh my God, this better go away. It took like the car ride home from Secaucus before like the dent was gone. Yeah, I was nervous.
It was good.
I was nervous.
Those were tight headsets.
It was a really. The next time I did it, I asked one of the studio guys. I'm like, hey, are there any looser headsets? Like any different ones? So he brought out like 3 different options for me.
That's amazing.
Major diva moment for me.
And we got a great show on tap.
Oh my goodness,
going to be with us a little bit later on the program. We got a lot.
Joe Lisi too. Joe Lisi is going to join us as well. So we got college hoops. We'll bust the chops of Sharapan out in Vegas a little bit later on the program. Game 1 of the World Series is tonight with Nola and Verlander down in Houston. We'll get into that. Thursday Night Football. I mean, quickly, give the Ravens credit. I mean, it was great. The best thing that came out of that was the video by Justin Tucker on the plane mocking out Russell Wilson, which we'll get to here in a little bit. But Keith, I mean, the Buck offense, we had a conversation yesterday, during the first hour of the program talking about the Thursday night game. And, I was a moron to actually in my pick'em pool to sway with the Sharps and go with Tampa, even though Tampa had burned me the last couple of weeks, right? So I didn't play a side last night, but I didn't have a great feel and was just concerned about Baltimore's defense. That Tampa offense is, as we've talked about, it's broken.
I mean, it stinks. And they can't stop the run. You saw that. That defense got worn down. Now Shaq Barrett comes out with a significant injury as he might be lost for, a long duration here in the regular season. I mean, whether it be Mike Evans dropping balls, whether it be the inability to finish off in the red zone, settling for way too many field goals, or not the inability to protect Tom Brady, it just doesn't work. Give the Baltimore Ravens credit because, they took the early steam from Tampa down early. Then went on, then scored 14 consecutive points to take a 17-10 lead when they were down 10-3. And the Ravens were the better football team. Lamar was better playmakers, making plays in the open field, knowing what they have to do. And that Tampa team is now sitting at 3-5, Keith. And I don't know if it's a case of, we're now 8 games into this season. They've got, 9 games to go over the course of the next 10 weeks. I don't know if Tampa is ever going to find it this year.
But the division's so bad, right? Like, if the Panthers win or Atlanta, whatever, either one wins this weekend, one of them is going to be in first place in that division. So the division's bad. The Buccaneers showed some signs last night. Let's do the glasses half full thing first. They showed some signs last night, right? They scored early. They were able to incorporate Leonard Fournette a little bit more into the offense. Chris Godwin had a good burst, that 44-yard catch and run. Mike Evans made like a good catch, and I say that tongue in cheek. No, like they showed a few things last night. Devin White hit his over 6.5 tackles for no reason, whatever, just, a couple thumbs up there. But now let's go glasses half empty. They're bad. That's a bad football team. No one seems to be on the same page with each other, whether it's the coaching, and I think you do have to start with the coaching. I think it's a trickle-down effect. And again, I hate to bash on Todd Bowles, but I don't think he's an NFL head coach. I think what we're learning is he's a coordinator, and that's what he is. The trickle-down effect starts there. Then it goes to Tom Brady. And Tom Brady, you can't be an 81-year-old angry person at the senior citizen home. And that's what Tom Brady is right now. He's mad at every nurse that comes in and says, "Do you want your Jell-O?" Well, Tom Brady, take your Jell-O and complete some passes. Some of this is on Brady. It has to be.
Oh yeah, I agree. I think it's on everybody. I think it's Brady where you're questioning the commitment of Tom Brady this year, given everything that's going on and the retirement, unretirement, and back, and personal life falling apart. It's him taking time away from the team. It's Bowles coming out and saying that he's not getting any kind of special treatment. It's the losses they had, whether it be in free agency or whether it be due to retirement along the offensive line. And it's losses along that defensive front as well. I mean, that defensive line is not nearly as good. And there's no Jason Pierre-Paul, as he was now a Baltimore Raven, but he was one of the veteran players there. It just looks completely different. And, that defense gets exhausted, and rightfully so. And they get worn down as games go along. And that's why you've seen them break against Carolina. That's why you saw them break in the second half against Pittsburgh. And that's why you saw them break last night against the Baltimore Ravens. Like when Brady went on that drive and made it, a 17-13 game, right? They didn't, I had no belief at all that Tampa was going to stop the Ravens offense. I thought they were going to go right down the field, and that's exactly what they did.
Yeah. Now let's go to the other side. I think the Ravens showed you some stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Gus Edwards gets banged up again. Another man steps up. Mark Andrews goes out with injury that we were a little bit worried about him being banged up. Isaiah Likely steps in and looks like a stud. Rashad Bateman goes out with another injury. Demarcus Robinson and Devin Duvernay out there catching footballs. I got to tell you, hey, Baby J, by the way, welcome. You're in court right now. I really hope that, you know what? I hope you kept receipts on all your issues.
What are you
Baby J?
Like,
hope you kept receipts.
Yeah, like ticket court? What kind of court is Baby J in? I mean, that is a super fan. That really is. I mean, if we're going into the ticket court.
He is in ticket court.
I was like, what are you about to be, a juror? I mean,
Baby J, do you like my Robert Saleh costume? All gas, no brakes.
I
feel like I need to get closer to the camera. Doesn't he do that too? Like he did the thing. He did the whole interview where he was like this to the camera.
No, there was that one week. Remember where he dyed his growth, and then he was like the etching like a Backstreet Boy. It was pretty impressive. You look good. You look sharp. I think. Listen, Baltimore's going to get better as the season goes along. They are. I mean, Lamar's too good of a player, and I think you've seen. With Tampa here, Keith, even to the last minute, what's amazing is, it takes a while for the betting markets to adjust, right? And I thought for a while here they adjusted, and then everybody played Tampa. Like all the money rolled in Tampa to the point where right before kickoff, that line in the span of 48 hours went from Bucks +1 to Bucks -2.
Yeah.
And we were having that conversation yesterday saying, it's got to be Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews played, but he played with a knee injury. He left the game with a shoulder injury. So now he's got not only a knee issue, but he's also got a shoulder issue and did not return to the game. But you saw the rookie of the 4th round pick out of Coastal Carolina, absolutely star, who, I heard McCourty on the Westwood One broadcast last night, who does a terrific job, by the way, who's going to be an absolute star as an analyst and does a good job on the NFL Network. But, put that aside, he was talking about how the Ravens looked at him as being Mark Andrews, baby Mark Andrews. They were calling him during the course of training camp. And you saw him flash last night. He is a hell of a young-looking tight end, and what he's going to be able to do for that Ravens offense. And when Andrews is healthy enough to be able to have that duo at the tight end position for the Baltimore Ravens is going to be fun to watch moving forward here. But the Bucs are broken. Yep. And, long story long is it didn't adjust. Like, people looked at that Steeler game and said, that can't be right. And after the Carolina Panthers traded Christian McCaffrey, that was nearly a 2-touchdown. The Bucs, even despite what we all saw against Pittsburgh, this is the get-right game for Tampa. Then even despite what we saw against Carolina, still the money flowed in for Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This is going to be, their offense is going to find a way, as we talked about yesterday. Ravens secondary can't cover, giving up points, giving up yards, all these things. This is going to be a game where they get healthy, and you come out of that game, and they're 3-5. And they're not 3-5 because they were unlucky last night. They are a 3-5 team, and that game probably isn't even as close as the final score indicates. Like, that is not a 27-22 final. At no point in that game, even with a 10-3 lead, did I think Tampa was going to win that game. I just thought it was just a matter of time until Baltimore finds a way. Agreed.
And it's the first time for Tom Brady being on a team where they've lost 3 games in a row since 2002. First time he's 2 games below 500 in his career. Like, and the stats, if you go just looking at a box score, you go, okay, Tom Brady wasn't that bad. Watch the game and you can see that he was not good. That team is not good. They are bad. And none of that helped my Thrive Fantasy lineup last night.
Yeah, how'd you do?
Not well. Not well at all. No. I was bottom.
I embarrassed myself the day before.
Well, I helped out with the embarrassment. Don't worry.
Where did you finish?
It was like, I think there were only 200 people worse than me.
Out of, like, how many people were in the pool?
1,300.
So you finished 1,100th out of 1,300.
Yeah.
Now, can I ask you, is your username Irizarry Better Sports Network?
No, I think it's, I don't even know. I think it's Keith Irizarry. Yeah. I think.
No, I'm just curious because mine is just M. Malusis. No, because I was just.
What am I? Settings. Yeah, I'm Keith Irizarry.
Yeah, like, okay, so you finished 11th out of 1,300.
1,100th.
1,100th out of 1,300.
Yeah,
right.
terrible.
1,300. Right.
Brutal.
So what did you hit?
What did I hit?
Yeah.
Did I hit anything? What? Why isn't this?
You didn't go 0 for 10.
No, I know. I'm kidding. Why isn't it opening up? I'm trying. Oh, I gotta go my entry. Right? Picks. Yes. Here we go. Lamar under on the completions. I was wrong, right? How many completions did Lamar have?
I don't know offhand. Well, it turns red if it's wrong.
Red if it's wrong. So I'm wrong there. Godwin did not score a touchdown. I got the Godwin yards. I got the Evan yards. I got the Fournette touchdown. I got Brady touchdown yards. I missed on Duvernay by the hook on his catches. I missed on, obviously, Mark Andrews on everything. And Rashad White. Okay. Ended up with 43 yards. So I only got 1, 2, 3, 4. I got 5 out of 10 right.
5 out of 10. Yeah, I did better than me. I got 4 out of 10.
Oh, there you go. All right.
There you go. Thrive Fantasy is now a proud sponsor of the Moose and Keith program. We're happy to have them aboard. Check them out, thrivefantasy.com. Prop up today. And we've been entering Thrive Fantasy. We'll do some more next week.
Yep. We'll do a Monday Night Football one. I think you're up, right? We'll just alternate.
Yeah. We'll do one on Tuesday when you're back.
Yeah.
You're off on Monday.
Yeah.
Halloween.
I already forgot. I work so much. The bigger news yesterday, I think it was Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
And this rocks the landscape of the AFC, right? And now let's really break it down though, because I think the sensational part of this is that you say it rocks it, right? From a standpoint of the way the Bengals are built, I won't say that you can replace a Jamar Chase, but Tyler Boyd is an excellent number 3 option that becomes a number 2. And T. Higgins is a guy that a lot of people believe can be a 1 anyway. So he slides into that 1 spot as long as he's healthy. I would say someone like Hayden Hurst from a fantasy standpoint, if he's available in any of your leagues, scoop him up. Someone's got to get those targets. But Tyler Boyd is a guy that you start looking at too. I think Cincinnati can get through the 4 to 6 weeks without Chase. Now, if this goes further than that, If this starts leading itself into something that's lingering, I believe lessen them if it were to, somehow get into the postseason. But we're hearing 4 to 6 weeks. So I would like to try to, pause it just a little bit because the Bengals are built pretty well.
They are built pretty well. I don't know. I think, it's a huge hit. You can look at Boyd and you can look at Higgins from a fantasy perspective. I think everyone was clamoring if Boyd was available, you're going to go grab him after the news comes out of the hip injury to Jamar Chase. But, Chase is the biggest threat that steps on that field with the connection with Joe Burrow. So now how does it look? Does it look different? It's great that he's not going to be – hopefully it's on the low end. Hopefully he's back in a month, right? Yep. Hopefully he's only out 4 weeks and that's it. And then he's back in and playing wide receiver for the Cincinnati Bengals. But, it's a hit. I mean, you had the Chase news where everyone was clamoring, and then you look at the complexion. Could Cincinnati win games without Jamar Chase? For sure. If you're a fantasy player, that is a dynamic blow.
Massive hit for people who drafted Jamar Chase in the first round.
You can't go and maybe Boyd was available, Keith, but you're great at this stuff. You can't go find somebody to replace Jamar Chase unless you're swinging a massive deal.
No, so Tyler Boyd actually was not very available. Most leagues he was already picked up. We go back to the Wan'Dale Robinson stuff, right? Like Wan'Dale Robinson is got, and then there will be people out there, but Chiefs are on a bye week this week. There will be people that'll turn around and scoop up Kadarius Toney and hope that he, gets rejuvenated in Kansas City.
Yeah, and that's it. And I think he has an opportunity to do so.
He does.
Giants make that trade yesterday with the Kansas City Chiefs. Toney wasn't playing. He was a headache. They didn't believe. And he was also hurt a lot, right? Kadarius Toney, of 24 games that he was available since being the 20th overall pick, 21 draft, he only played in 12 of them. So, Toney's never really been healthy, but we do know he's talented. Like, he's not one of those guys, Keith, where you watch and you say, he can't play.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, what were the scouts seeing in that? Like, Kadarius Toney can play, and there is a realistic chance, not like a I'm hitting the Powerball tonight kind of a chance, right? I'm talking about a realistic chance that Kadarius Toney is an absolute superstar with the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
There is that possibility. And so he went on social media yesterday, said he's healthy. The Chiefs are in their bye week, so they've got time to acclimate him into the offense. Reed's a very creative play caller along with Bieniemy. He's got arguably the best quarterback in the NFL in Mahomes. The Chiefs just got more dangerous yesterday with that trade with the Giants.
Crazy that apparently like the Giants found out about this and it didn't seem like anyone cared. Oh, okay. Bye, Kadarius. Like it sounds like he just did not ingratiate himself well with that locker room.
Yeah.
Something was going on there.
I heard Kenny Galladay say he's going to reach out to him and call him. Yeah, I can't speak to where he fell or how his teammates liked him in the locker room. I think the stuff that's been out there is true. I think when he was in the building, the Giants trusted that he was doing the work necessary. When he was out of the building, they weren't so sure. So, and that's been reported all over the place, not breaking any news here on Bettor Sports Network, but that was the issue that you had with it. And when you have a regime change and you have a guy that doesn't completely buy into what the new regime is trying to do, Keith, you're going to see this. This is what happens. And listen, the Giants in that draft, they traded back, got an extra first-round pick with the Chicago Bears. They didn't get, Devontae Smith, who the Eagles traded up to go out there and get. And the other one that's going to be a huge miss that's going to haunt the Giants in that draft is they passed on Micah Parsons, who ends up being a Dallas Cowboy. And Micah Parsons last year is getting compared to Lawrence Taylor. So, and now they traded the pick that they used with the 20th overall selection for a 3 and a 6. So that says it all about the Dave Gettleman era.
Yeah, lots of misses. Let's put it that way.
Lots of misses.
Hey, we have a giveaway top of the hour. It'll be Lendale White, the former USC Trojan, the Titans autographed jersey, courtesy of gettingthegame.com, Bettor Sports Network. That'll be a fun one to give out. Oh, there it is.
Beautiful.
That's sharp.
I love the Titans jersey. That one. I love both of them, but I love that. The baby blue, the dark blue, the white numerals. with the outline in the dark blue, white lettering. I think I sound like Michael Kay on the Yes Network now, but that looks absolutely beautiful. Like, I love that jersey.
Yeah,
it's a pretty sweet jersey. Like, when you look at that jersey, I know we're giving away a Lendell White. The guy that I immediately think of is McNair.
I knew you were going to say it. Me too.
Yeah, that's the guy I think of. God rest his soul. But
yeah,
I think about Steve McNair. That's the guy that I think about. Or you think about Eddie George or Javon Curse, but to me, it's Steve McNair.
Yeah. Ooh, Eddie George, that would be a good one. Let's get in the game on that one. Let's get an Eddie George autograph. I'll quit for an hour for that.
Well, then you bring in the Ohio State fans. I mean, you bring in Eddie George.
OH.
Yes.
Big. I mean, we're going to talk about Ohio State, Penn State this weekend.
Yes.
That will be massive. That line, 15.5-point favorite. It's been hovering anywhere between 14.5 to 16.5 is big. And I know Ohio State is great, but Penn State doesn't typically get blown out. And I know they just lost to Michigan. Penn State's usually a team that keeps it close. That stadium, Beaver, is going to be rocking. It's going to be a whiteout like always.
Oh, it's going to be great.
I've never been to, so I did Penn State at Ohio State once. I've never done Ohio State at Penn State.
But you've been to Penn State games. Your wife.
I have. Yes, I've been to Penn State games.
Have you been to Penn State whiteout games?
No. Okay. Unfortunately, I haven't. And now we haven't been able to get to a Penn State game because of, working tops for the last 7 years. I'm up at 4 o'clock in the morning, so I can't go to a 7 o'clock game.
What time do you go to sleep on Saturday night? 8?
No. So my goal always is I have like this routine. Year one was really difficult. And with what we do, it's crazy because a lot of times I'm up till, same as you, 12 o'clock in the morning, 1 o'clock in the morning, whatever it is. I can do it on Saturday nights. As long as we don't have anything planned, I want to be in bed at 9 o'clock. I'm in bed at 9. I'll watch television and I can just unwind, and I'm trying to be in bed by 10 so I can still get about 5.5 hours sleep.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
I can't watch TV. You're like my wife. My wife watches TV. I like it can be completely dark in the room.
I like the TV. And I usually I'll put on something stupid, like not anything that takes any brain mentality. I don't want to watch anything that I have to think about.
Yeah, I get it. You want
Food Network.
Yeah.
Impractical Jokers.
Yeah. I like that.
Can we get an Impractical Joker on the show? Come on, Ernie.
We should. I agree with you.
Sal's on tour right now.
We got Johnny Bananas coming on.
It's going to be a couple weeks. So we spoke to him. He's out of town right now. He's got a bunch of stuff going on. So we'll get him on in a couple weeks.
Nice. Right? You know who's coming up next? Joe Lisi's going to come up next. So let's set the table. We're going to get into the Game 1 of the World Series, talk about props and futures, how to play the World Series, how to play Game 1 tonight. We'll get into that. Joe Lisi's going to join us next. We're going to talk a little college football. We're giving away the Lendell White jersey, top of the 11 o'clock hour. Dave Sharapan joins us at 11:30. We'll run around the Sunday that will be Week 8 of the NFL as well. An action-packed Moose and Keith next 90 minutes coming your way next, right here. Where else? The Bettor Sports Network. Let's talk a little Thrive Fantasy, shall we? Because he is with us, and that is the CEO of Thrive Fantasy joins us now. And that is Adam Weinstein, who is now a Thrive Fantasy proud sponsor. Well, we're happy that they are sponsoring the Moose and Keith show right here on the Bettor Sports Network. Hey, Adam, good morning. Thanks for the time this morning. We appreciate it, and thanks for partnering up with us. We're excited about the opportunity ahead.
Good morning, fellas. Excited on our end as well.
Yeah, really cool stuff. I did my first NFL challenge yesterday. I did a Monday night one, ended up hitting 6 out of 10, and ended up winning $25. So I did pretty well. Finished 260 out of almost 1,200.
I mean, hitting 6 out of 10 in any other platform, you're probably not making your money back or being profitable. But on Thrive, if you hit 60%, you got a chance.
Talk us through that too, because I do find that part of it is really cool. So many options to become a winner.
Yeah, so unlike your traditional daily fantasy where you're drafting one quarterback, one running back, one wide receiver, we give a user a list of 20 over-unders in which they pick 10 out of 20. Each one has a fantasy point associated with it based on the likelihood it is to hit. So you can get 7 out of 10 right. I can get 8 out of 10 right, but you can still theoretically beat me if you pick more underdogs. So a lot of fun, more of a pick up and play type mentality. Essentially, the reason behind Thrive is I didn't want people to have to research 30 quarterbacks 60 running backs, 150 wide receivers, right? We're only asking you about the Bradys of the world, the Zekes. So these are the people that you want to engage with, the ones that you're knowledgeable about. And it's just more streamlined, more easy for the casual fan to compete.
Adam, when did you mentioned the reasoning behind Thrive Fantasy? When did you realize that there was an opportunity within the marketplace of this missing that you think would work?
Yeah, so I've been a player prop guy for probably 12 to 13 years now, way before PASPA. I graduated UMass Amherst 2012 with a sport management degree when DK and FanDuel were coming aboard. I was like, given my sports knowledge, I'm going to crush it on these sites. Lo and behold, I got my absolute butt kicked. So I thought, hey, if player props and daily fantasy had a baby, I think that could be pretty cool. I left my sales job at the Yankees in 2016 to found Thrive. We launched in 2018, a month prior to PASPA, and the rest is history. We started with the NFL, MLB, and NBA, and we now offer about a dozen plus sports and esports across the board.
Download Thrive Fantasy in the Apple app and Google Play Store, or visit thrivefantasy.com. Prop up with Thrive Fantasy this season.
Moose and Keith with you. Let's welcome aboard right now. Tremendous head of hair. We talk about knows college football backwards and forwards. Just a great guy. Is Joe Lisi from Sports Grid joins us now. Joe, Keith is who is Keith today?
I saw the tweet, Robert Salah, but I have to be honest, Keith. I mean, unbelievable. I can't make the determination whether he's the head coach of the New York Jets or he should be flying over the Throg's neck for Chopper, WPIX Chopper, and getting a weather report on the traffic. I don't know. You tell me.
Well, listen,
the headphones have WPIX Chopper Reporter written all over.
It does, right?
It does, right?
Right.
It's like noise can't. I told Joe I was busting Keith's chops. I said, that is the biggest set of headsets that I've ever seen in my life.
Unbelievable.
well, here's the deal, fellas. All right, listen, you guys want to mock, and that's fine. I've been keeping receipts on both of you guys as well. And Joe Lisi, I'm turning to you first. I got receipt number 1 here. The truth is that you think Il Forno Brick Oven Pizza Cafe is the #1 Italian restaurant in the Secaucus area near the Meadowlands. I got receipts. It's clearly not. You need to step your game up there. And Moose, I mean, I'm going to leave you alone right now.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
That's-
Is Il Forno that good, Joe?
No, first of all, Keith knows I'm low carb. I mean, the last time I had a piece of bread had to be about 1986. I mean, come on now.
Joe's in shred. I've got to take this off. I'm sorry. Yeah. Joe is in shred mode right now. I don't think you know this about Joe. Joe is in beast
Joe,
mode. He's getting ready for fights.
Don't you miss like a nice bowl of pasta? Don't you miss that or no?
Honestly, Moose, if I do have pasta, and Keith could attest, the
Protein
Barilla,
pasta.
right? High protein pasta, and it's only if I'm run down. I've been in shred mode since 1998. I'm not, at the end of the day, it's all about the brand, right?
Yeah,
that is true. You're right about that. You're right about that. I wish I could share that same motivation. I got to get myself going. All right, Joe, let's talk a little college football. Keith teased it going into break. How about Happy Valley, Penn State home, Ohio State coming to town, the Buckeyes right now. You look at, they're a 15.5-point favorite. You look at historically, James Franklin, against top 10 teams, doesn't win. I mean, they got run out of the building against Michigan. What about Ohio State, Penn State on Saturday?
Well, I don't know. Was Sharapan on yet, or is he coming on after?
11:30.
Okay, because he was on my show last night. Okay, and I almost blew a gasket because he's a Penn State guy. I love Penn State in the matchup, Keith and Moose, because I think they're going to step up. Let me just talk about the history perspective in terms of when you look at it. Ohio State has won 9 of the last 10. They've won 6 straight, the last 4 by an average margin of victory of 7 points per game. Picked up this victory last year as a 19.5-point favorite, 33-24. But Penn State has covered 5 of the last 6 when you think about the ATS perspective. The only game that they didn't cover was a couple of years ago during COVID. The line opened up at 13.5. They bet it down to 12.5, and it ended on 13 because the Ohio State kicker actually hit the upright on an extra point. But what do you have to do in order to beat Ohio State, right? You have to run the football consistently. Penn State can do that. They're averaging 178 yards on the ground. You have to be able to play man-to-man coverage on those wide receivers. Joey Porter Jr. and that secondary can do that. And you have to be opportunistic, and they're +7 in turnover margin. The fact that they are 37-7, Penn State, at home straight up, since 2016 in Beaver Stadium, I think they have a very good shot to strike the upset. People think I'm nuts, but at the end of the day, this is Penn State's Super Bowl. I know it's Ohio State. I know they're the best team in the Big Ten on paper, but that's why they play the games. I'm calling for the upset outright, +14.5, and on the money line, +400.
Whoa, so all gas, no brakes. We get it, but here's like dive into that further with Penn State, Ohio State. So then, from a betting standpoint, actually,
Sure.
let's talk this out and get people, some smart intel.
Sure.
So you think Penn State can win this outright?
I do.
So you put something on that, and then you're backing it up with the points as well?
Exactly. So my first bet, I already took them when the line came out on Sunday at +15.5, right? And then now I'm taking, obviously, the +430. In some books, it's +400. But, perception is unreal when it pertains to college football, because we have this perception that, it's Ohio State. And granted, they're the best team in the Big Ten. But how do you beat Ohio State? Nobody asked that question. It's just like they're unbeatable. Okay, we get that. But if you are going to beat Ohio State, what is the recipe to do that? How do you neutralize C.J. Stroud? And how do you neutralize, obviously, the offense? You force and limit big plays. I think Penn State can do that. The fact that they're playing at home, the fact that they can run the football, the fact that they play very good third down defense, they're holding opposing offenses to 35% of their third down opportunities. Everybody will look at the outlier against Michigan and say, well, that because they got blown out by Michigan, they're going to get blown out by Ohio State. It is a week-to-week type of basis. The consistency in terms of college football varies from week to week. It's not like the NFL. You get highs, you get lows, and you have to find where the median is in terms of these matchups. And keep in mind, from the ATS perspective, guys, Penn State has been toe-to-toe with Ohio State over the past couple of years in Happy Valley. Dwayne Haskins had to pull it out a couple of years ago. JT Barrett as well, one-score games. So I'm going down on record. Penn State covers and wins the ball game outright.
Really fast. I'm watching both of you on screen, and I just Moose seems like he's not buying what you're selling here.
Well, that's fine.
No, that's not.
I'm busting chops. I'm busting chops. I'm busting chops.
No, I'm not. I've seen it before with James Franklin. That's all. But Joe's information is on point.
Of course.
So I don't love the game. Like I probably, if you had to have me play the game, I'd agree with Joe and take Penn State plus the points. But it's a huge number for the Nittany Lions at home, and tired of watching their quarterback play and everything like that. That would be the concern I'd have, and the fact that it kind of all fell apart against the Wolverines earlier in the year. But hopefully it gets home. +430 right now, Penn State on the money line. Hopefully that gets home. Joe, I want to ask you about the biggest game of the day, and that is up in the Carrier Dome.
Doesn't get bigger.
As only a Syracuse alum could say it, the 16th ranked Orange, who should have beat Clemson last week, right? The 16th ranked Orange, they're home taking on the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. Who the Syracuse right now sitting as a 2-point favorite. Who do you like in this one, Joe?
Yeah, I'm going to shock you, Moose. I'm going to go. I'm probably going to be, on your, not on your happy list, but I'm going.
No, don't do it. Don't do it. No, you're taking Notre Dame.
I have to back it by statistics, and then you can bash me all you want.
No, it's Carver. That's what it is. It's all by Carver's influence.
It's not Carver. No, I love Carver, by the way.
And Carver's picking Syracuse.
Wait a second. This is a key indication in terms of all gambling, right? When you buy low is when the Notre Dame faithful and the fan base of a respective program think they have no shot. That's when I want to jump in. Carver does not like Notre Dame. That's a buy indication for me. It's like buying a stock when it's low. Like when the fan base writes them off, that's when I want to jump in. But Notre Dame has won 4 straight in the series, okay? So they have that factor. And here's the other factor as well. How did Syracuse break down in the second half of that ball game from a defensive perspective? It was in run support. They allowed 293 to Clemson. That's the one thing Notre Dame does well in terms of the rushing offense. Every time Notre Dame has pounded the rock for over 200, they're 3-0 on the season. They rushed for 223 last week against UNLV. They won those 3 games by an average margin of victory of 14.6 points per game. I understand it's Syracuse. I understand they've overachieved up until this point, and it's a short number. But I do feel that Notre Dame wins the ball game outright, catching 2.5. I think they strike the upset in the Carrier
Joe, let me
Dome
ask you, just
Plus 120 on BetMGM. Just wanted to give out the odds.
Notre Dame plus 120. Are you a fan of Dinosaur Barbecue in Syracuse?
No. I've never been there. No, not at all.
Oh, you've never been there. Okay,
Nope.
so you got to go. You got to
go.
Let's go. Let's go. I love
we got to
barbecue.
go.
Well,
maybe next college football season when Syracuse is in the top 10, we'll all go.
You know what, Moose? Had Joe picked Syracuse here, maybe you take him.
That's it.
Listen,
I know.
Now I know
Moose
they're going to
hates me
lose.
now. I know.
Joe,
Now
you just ruined my day, Joe.
I know.
You picked Notre Dame to win. Now I know they're going to lose. It's over. That's where I am in my Syracuse fandom.
So I'm having fun here in my head thinking about this. All right, so then Joe, because now you've got Penn State, an upset win. You got Notre Dame, an upset win. Give me a third team that is a dog right now that you're looking at that straight up can win on the money line, because I'm trying to build a parlay here for you.
How about Louisville? The numbers suggest that Wake Forest is going to win this ball game. They're ranked 10th in the nation. From just the gambling perspective, Louisville head coach Scott Satterfield against AP top 25 opponents is 0-10 since 2019. So that's not a good recipe to get to, face Wake Forest in this ball game. But you look at the football perspective. They have a mobile quarterback in Malik Cunningham. Their defense is carrying the Cardinals right now. They're allowing only 130 rushing yards per game. They're opportunistic in terms of turnover margin, +4. They can get after the quarterback, 24 total sacks. And on the flip side, when you look at Wake Forest, they faced 2 mobile quarterbacks all year. Caden Salter for Liberty, they gave up 71 yards. They didn't cover in that ball game. And 51 yards to DJU and Clemson. They lost and got the cover. I like Malik Cunningham. I like Louisville playing at home. I think they strike the upset over Wake Forest this coming Saturday.
Wow.
What does that get you, Joe? What does that get you, Keith?
So I can't. All right. So I was about to ask Joe for help on this one. I'm in New York. I can't bet on New York schools. So there's no way for me to do that on the app. So
you can't take Notre Dame.
Yeah, I can't do the Notre Dame Syracuse game. So I can't bet on that. So Penn State and Louisville, just both of them on the money line together, a 2-leg parlay would be plus 1163. So Joe, I don't know, or if anybody behind the scenes, if you guys can punch that up really quickly and try to see if we add in Notre Dame.
I can do it.
Oh yeah, you're in Connecticut. Yeah,
I'm in Connecticut. So let me find Louisville. Here we go.
Yeah, so if you can add in Notre Dame.
All right, so here we go. Penn State, I got them at plus 440. Notre Dame plus 114. Louisville plus 134 for a grand total of plus 2604. 26-1.
Is that a Joe Lisi endorsed parlay?
Yeah, I like it. I think all 3 teams have a great shot to cover and win the ball game outright.
Love it.
All right, so Moose, why don't you screen grab that, send it over to Ernie and Keith behind the scenes. Let's get that out on social media. We'll call that a Joe Lisi / Moose and Keith underdog parlay.
There you go.
All right, Joe, let's go down south to the SEC. How about Georgia, number 1 team in the land? They're a huge favorite at home against Florida, 22.5. Is there an argument to be made for the Gators not to win, but to cover this huge spread?
Yeah, I mean, Napier as an underdog has a very good record. Entering this year, he was 9-4 against the number and has covered in a number of different underdog spots this season, most notably on the road against Tennessee earlier in the year. I like them to cover this number. But again, Georgia will dominate in the trenches. That's where Florida right now is weak, especially in run support. They got worn down by a bigger, more physical team in terms of LSU a couple of weeks ago. Again, it's a rivalry game, so catching 3 touchdowns, I think Anthony Richardson can keep them in the number in terms of a backdoor situation. But I do feel Georgia rolls and is never in doubt in terms of the spread perspective.
Tennessee, 12-point favorites, depending on what book you're looking at, against Kentucky. And we obviously know that Levis is an awesome QB for Kentucky when he's healthy. I want to ask this two ways, all right?
Sure.
And it's bad journalism to ask two questions because you're probably only going to answer one. One, obviously, which way are you leaning in this game? But two, how real is Tennessee?
They're real in the sense of they're the second best team potentially in the SEC East. Are they going to make the college football playoff? Absolutely not, in my opinion. And that's not to take away in terms of what Josh Heupel, Hendon Hooker, and that team have done this year. Definitely have over exceeded expectations and got the upset win. That's the first step in terms of the progression and the foundation that Josh Heupel has built there. But I still think they're a year or two away from the defensive perspective, right? They can outscore teams, but to go toe-to-toe with Georgia and some of the better teams in terms of the college football playoff, they're going to need that defense to take the next step. Now, when you look at this matchup against Kentucky, Kentucky has played them very tough the last couple of years. 2 years ago, they got their first win in Knoxville during the COVID year since 1984. Think about that. Almost 40 years. Kentucky's only won 4 times in the series, right? Last year, it was 45-42. It was a shootout in Lexington. Will Levis put up some points along with Hendon Hooker. Now they're catching 11.5, 12. I like the defense of Kentucky in this ballgame. They're holding opposing quarterbacks 55% completion percentage, have only allowed 5 touchdowns all year long, and more importantly, 178 yards to opposing quarterbacks, coupled with the fact that I think Kentucky can move the football on the front seven of Tennessee on the ground and through the air. Will Levis, 255.5. I think it's a shootout. I like Will Levis over his total. I like Kentucky to keep it within the number Saturday night in Knoxville.
All right, what about Okie State and K-State, where right now Kansas State is a 1.5-point favorite, Joe?
This is a tip, and you could ask Sharapan. The books established this line, I think, to suck in Kansas State money. It makes absolutely no sense. Kansas State potentially on Will Howard or a third-string quarterback. Adrian Martinez is hurt. Oklahoma State has won 3 straight in the series by 8.6 points per game. Picked up the victory last week over Texas as a 6.5-point dog. They're 15-2 ATS in their last 17 games against the number. And Oklahoma State is an underdog here. They're potentially the best team in the Big 12. I'm rolling with Spencer Sanders and the Cowboys. I think they make that offense one-dimensional. I think they come out of Manhattan with a W.
What's another game we haven't talked about yet that has been catching your eye?
Oh, there's a few, Keith. I love the slate this weekend. I love the absolute slate. But how about Arkansas? This is a game I think that, Arkansas really dominates Auburn. They have lost 6 straight in the series, and the last 4 by an average margin of victory of 22.4 points per game, lost by 18 points last year. But it's a tale of 2 programs headed in opposite directions. I think Arkansas is trending. They have the better quarterback in terms of KJ Jefferson, 14 touchdowns, 1 interception. They can pound the rock. They're averaging 240 yards on the ground. And Auburn right now, coming on a 3-game losing streak. They're coming out of a bye. 2 weeks ago, they allowed 448 yards to Jackson Dart and Ole Miss. And oh, by the way, they're minus 11 in turnover margin, which is the worst in all of FBS. 130 teams, dead last in terms of Auburn. That is a terrible recipe for a coach on the hot seat. I'm rolling with Arkansas, laying the 3.5, 4 on the road on the Plains in Auburn.
All right, Joe, I got a couple more for you, and then I want to
Sure.
ask you about the college football playoff. Joe Lisi joined Sports Grid. He's fantastic. Joins Keith and I like basically every other Friday, breaking down college football, and there's nobody better that does it. Joe, I want to ask you about Michigan. They're home taking on the Spartans of Michigan State. They're a 22.5-point favorite. I get Michigan State's not particularly good, but it is a rivalry game, and sometimes you get kind of strange results or outcomes in these games. Do we get one on Saturday between Michigan and Michigan State?
I think we do. Now, Michigan has dominated at home, right? They're 12-0 at home since dating back to last year. They're actually 11-0 every time they pound the rock for over 200 yards. Last year, they won those games by 27.6 points per game. This year, they're averaging about 33.5 points per game every time they rush for over 200. Michigan State, not good in run support per se. I still like Peyton Thorne. I mean, you want to give that team and Mel Tucker 21.5, 22 points in a rivalry game. Michigan hasn't covered large numbers in the series before. I'm going to take Sparty. I don't think they win, but I think they're in the area of about 2 touchdowns in this ballgame Saturday night in the Big House.
All right, how about UCLA, 12th ranked Bruins? They're home taking on Stanford as nearly a 17-point favorite.
I think UCLA rolls. I know Stanford has dominated the series, but they have lost their MO. They are absolutely atrocious in terms of run support. They're one of the worst rush defenses in all of college football, allowing 5.3 yards per carry. I think it continues with Zach Charbonnet and DTR. Even though UCLA struggled last week against Oregon, I think they cover the 16.5 Saturday night.
All right, let's talk to our true degens out there. So Friday night football, we got 2 games that involve FBS teams. You got East Carolina and BYU. You got Louisiana Tech and Florida International. You can give both if you want. You can give one. What do you like tonight for the true degens out there?
I love the over in East Carolina BYU. I think it's going to be in the high 70s, 80s in this ball game. I don't think ECU could stop the rushing attack of Jaron Hall and BYU, and I think BYU's defense in terms of the secondary could be challenged by Holton Ohlers and that offense. So I think it's points aplenty tonight, guys, in Provo.
Joe, I want to Rutgers. They're on the road. Just, I'm going to be doing pre and post game, right? When I want to get the Lisi kind of breakdown between Minnesota, who struggled as of late. Rutgers, obviously, offensively, they've struggled. They've struggled at the quarterback spot. I think they found a good running back in Sam Brown, though. The 4-star recruit who's went over 100 yards last week. But what about Rutgers and Minnesota tomorrow afternoon out in Minneapolis?
Yeah, I think Rutgers obviously moves headed in the right direction. Shiano's done a fantastic job. I just think from the interior line perspective, this is a very bad matchup with Rutgers. I think Minnesota will be able to run it, even though Tanner Morgan's questionable. I don't think it matters. I think Minnesota has a significant offense and defensive line advantage. They're both similar. It's just that, in my opinion, PJ has recruited a little bit better in terms of the last 3 or 4 years. I think they dominate this matchup. They haven't played well now in terms of back-to-back losses. This is an area for Minnesota to get right. I think they win the ball game by double digits.
Hey, before we let you go, I guess it's been a couple of weeks since we talked about Heisman again. Let's just revisit Heisman. Where are we sitting right now with Heisman stuff?
It's just right now it's CJ Stroud and Hooker. And depending upon how they go heading into maybe week number 10. But, I mean, if you want a dark horse, I mean, it's a big shot. But, I mean, keep an eye out west. We talked about DTR. He fell off. Bo Nix has stepped up. Caleb Williams could get back into the mix. They're going to have to run the table the rest of the way, whether it be Caleb or Bo Nix. But I think as long as they perform, they might have some value should CJ or Hendon Hooker get knocked off in the next couple of weeks. So outside of that, maybe Blake Corum because of the physicality of Michigan's rushing attack. But that's about it, guys.
Joe, take the rankings out of it. From your perspective, you watch college football more than anybody else I know, right? And you're great. Who are the best 4 teams in the country right now?
Right now, before these games are played this coming Saturday, I would say Georgia. I would say Ohio State. I would say TCU. I really like the way TCU is playing in Clemson. From a defensive perspective, if I had to put the 4 teams based off their records and where they are right here, right now, that would be my top 4. Alabama, Michigan would be out.
All right, so we know Alabama lost to Tennessee, but I want to ask you about Michigan. Why would you take TCU and Clemson, for argument's sake, or say just TCU? Why would you take TCU over Michigan?
Because it's new, Moose. Just because I think if we're looking at the college football playoff and we look at this and that's how the committee looks at it as well. We saw what they did last year, right? That's why we're not allowing a group of 5 in terms of Cincinnati, the way they got abused by Alabama. Same thing with Michigan, right? We saw the one-dimensional offense of the Michigan Wolverines. I haven't seen enough out of J.J. McCarthy, even from a schedule perspective, and that's not to take away from the win against Penn State, but TCU hasn't been there before. So if we're talking apples to apples, I'd much rather put in a team that I haven't seen perform in terms of the college football atmosphere, in terms of a Big 12 opponent, like TCU over Michigan. Now, that could change in the next couple of weeks, but right here, right now, I would take the Horned Frogs over Harbaugh and J.J. McCarthy at this point.
Well, Joe, you've done a fantastic job, and as much as you mock sometimes, and I do keep receipts, you're allowed to continue to be on the program. I will meet you 4 p.m. I think we're doing 11 Mill Ridge Road. We're going to be in Secaucus, home of the Patriots, the red, white, and blue. We're running stairs, and you better be there.
I will be there, Keith. You have a workout, put me down. Just have the gel ready for me and Moose. We'll be there. All right. We'll bring
At least
lunch.
I don't need sunblock right now.
Get the
God.
shampoo. I got to get the Lisi shampoo, the hair and mane or whatever.
That's
it's
it. You
called.
got to get it's the 3-in-1 body wash, conditioner, and shampoo all in one. Save it for $3.99, Moose. You know, when you're caught in a pinch, right?
Joe, you're the best.
All right,
Joe,
guys. Have a great weekend.
You as well. Joe is the best. I love it. He's just so good.
Save it for $3.99.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh,
It takes care of
goodness.
everything. Washes your body, your hair, and conditions. Everything's all one.
Does a little bit of everything.
No doubt. It's Moose and Keith with you. We'll come back. We got a giveaway. We've got a Lendell White autographed Tennessee Titans jersey that we're going to be giving away at the top of the 11 o'clock hour. We haven't even hit upon the Fall Classic. We'll talk about game one of the Astros and Phillies coming your way next hour. Keith's dressed up as Robert Saleh today.
Go up the stairs. I'll be back.
Dave Sharapan's going to join us at 11:30. It's Moose and Keith with you on a Friday right here on Bettor Sports Network.
Nando, and Friends, presented by Mayo Media on Bettor Sports Network. It's not like Russell Wilson's throwing for 300 yards and they're just losing, because of whatever, 31-24 or something like that. That's another thing.
Go out there, sit up in that cold stadium, and come to root on that trash. I feel bad for the Denver Bronco fans. Imagine you taking your family and you say, "Let's pack up the van. We going to go see the Denver Broncos in the Walmart, guys." Right. And you get out there in that altitude. Right, so now the kids already complaining, "Daddy, my head hurt. Daddy, I don't feel good. Daddy, I don't want to be here. The Walmart man is up there. How come he's been cut through? My head is hurting. It's cold, Daddy. Can I get a glizzy?" And the glizzy costs, great value glizzy, costs $17 because you got to pay $20 to $45 million for the quarterback who stinks. That's a bad fan experience right now.
Let me give you my Honey Nut Cheerios story real quick.
Yes, tell me.
I'm at the grocery store, and I got to buy Cinnamon Toast Crunch that they eat here. And there's a thing, like buy two, get two free. So it's like Cinnamon Toast Crunch, Lucky Charms, Cheerios, whatever. So I get 2 Cinnamon Toast Crunches, and there's a Cheerios. I'm like, let's check my fourth one. And I noticed on the Honey Nut Cheerios, there's a free toy inside. And it's like all the retro 90s commercial things. So no one eats Honey Nut Cheerios. I'm going to eat a box of Honey Nut Cheerios. Just give me my toy. So, and then I'm taking the Cinnamon Toast Crunches off the shelf. And I noticed the ones behind it have the retro toy as well. We'll have 3 toys in this home.
I still got my adult Happy Meal toys, which they're actually going crazy on eBay right now. You know?
Are they really?
Yeah.
How did we miss?
People. There's some of them that's listed for $300,000. But yeah, you can like Fry Guy. You can get $25 for Fry Guy right now.
Oh, that's not really going wild. I thought like $300.
No, I think it will soon though. I'm gonna hold on. I got Fry Guy and Hamburglar, so I'm gonna hold on to them.
This is Moose and Keith with Mark Malusis and Keith Irizarry, sponsored by Thrive Fantasy. Prop up on Thrive Fantasy this season.
Y'all know me, still the same OG, but I've been low key. Hated on by
Eminem, great song, bringing us out here. We're about to kick off hour number 2, Moose and Keith here on this Friday, and Tuesday, Keith, when we're back together again, because you're off on Monday, will be NFL trade deadline day. There's a lot of rumors and rumblings flying around that Jerry Jeudy, Broncos just announced that that Russell Wilson, after doing his knee ups on the flight over to London.
Do we have the video?
Do we have the yeah, we got to get the Tucker video. Guys, tell us when we have the Tucker video of him knocking out Russell Wilson last night, flight home after Baltimore. Here it is.
We got it.
What do you want to know? What are we doing on the plane ride back home? I heard Lamar's leading us in high knees, Ravens flock, let's fly.
Unlimited.
But we got to play it. We respect it.
Yes.
We like it.
Yes.
All right.
That is great.
Unlimited.
That is awesome. I mean, it's just awesome. Couple of things. I mentioned about the NFL trade deadline. There's rumors rumbling about Jerry Jeudy. That, and I know getting the game through in our chat session about the Jets. That's not the New York team that might be interested in Jerry Jeudy.
No, I think it's the other one. Yeah,
it's the Giants that might be interested in going to get Jerry Jeudy from the Denver Broncos. We'll see if that indeed does happen. Talking about a big time weapon, he's been underutilized in Denver. I mean, just a complete and utter mess for the Denver Broncos, and as they get set to take on the Jacksonville Jaguars on Sunday. But long story long is that the NFL trade deadline's actually become a thing, which is great. Which is, you see McCaffrey get moved, you see Kadarius Toney get moved. We'll see if Jerry Jeudy gets traded. We'll see how that game does look Sunday over in London.
Robert Quinn got dealt the other day.
Robert Quinn got dealt to the Philadelphia Eagles as the stronger just get stronger. So it would be fascinating to see if Jeudy does get moved to, say, the Giants, who are all of a sudden a massive player in the NFC, given the way that they have played, sitting there at 6-1, and now you add that kind of weapon for Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley, Kafka, and Brian Daboll.
See, and I think that if there were a team that makes a lot of sense to me, it's the Packers, right? The Packers, Lazard is not going to play this week. Romeo Doubs has been, unfortunately, he's been a miss. I'm not trying to say that his career is over, but he's been a miss so far. Christian Watson can't stay on the field. Sammy Watkins can't stay on the field. Randall Cobb can't stay on the field. And as much as we want to talk about how ornery Tom Brady has been, Aaron Rodgers the same way. Like, he looks like an angry old man playing football right now. So, yeah, I think him. Bettor Al just put on there DJ Moore. Yeah, DJ Moore. Now, the problem with this is if the Panthers win this weekend, they're in first place. So they're just going to continue to unload everything and give their fan base literally nothing to look at? I don't know.
I think they probably – I mean, listen, I think if you're Carolina, I mean, they're there because the division is just dreadful. Right. And we're all everyone's still completely waiting for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to wake up. But if I'm Carolina, I'm thinking long term. But why can't DJ Moore be part of the long term solution if you're the Carolina Panthers? Why can't, if I go draft a quarterback, say, this year in the NFL draft, why can't he all of a sudden be part of the solution long term? It's going to be interesting. The point is, like, whether DJ Moore gets dealt, whether Jerry Jeudy gets traded, whether somebody else on a fledgling team gets dealt, the NFL trade deadline's actually become a thing over the past 2 or 3 years, which is another great kind of layer to the National Football League. So we'll see exactly what does happen here. But Judy's a guy that will be an interesting name that gets bandied about. And Russell Wilson continues to get heat. I mean, that Justin Tucker stuff is just great. He is going to get, I mean, whether it be the Subway commercial, whether it be Let's Ride, whether it be some of the interviews that he's doing. It's almost, Keith, I was thinking about last night driving home from picks, just quickly on Wilson here. It's almost like he's trying to prove to everybody that he's worth the money that he is worth. And I go back to that piece that was done kind of after the Wilson was traded to the Denver Broncos, kind of the inner workings of the Seattle Seahawks. And I went back and read it last night to kind of refresh my memory. But the Seattle Seahawks thought that Wilson was losing, like was on the decline. Like they did not think he was on the rise. They thought he was on the decline. They thought his scrambling ability was on the decline. He thought, seeing the field, how creative he was able to be was on the decline. They grew tired of him, incessantly pushing for trying to win the MVP award in the National Football League, all those things. But they thought his ability was not, he was not going to age well. And you're seeing that this year with the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, and Jay Allen writes, Wilson has become a Hollywood star. I don't know if I would word it that way. And Ernie is saying he's very A-Rod-like. I actually think that is a really good comp, right? Because
that is a good comp. That's a good one by Ernie.
Alex Rodriguez, and Moose, you could tell me I'm wrong, but I don't think he's very liked. I don't think he was ever very liked anywhere, right? Like, even in signing all the big money, hitting all these big home runs, no matter whether he won a World Series or was in last place with the Texas Rangers, I feel like everywhere he was, he's not a beloved player because his shtick came off fake.
Keith, I would put it, he wasn't genuine.
Yep. There you go.
Like, I think, you and I grew up in this area. You can sniff out people who are BS artists. You could sniff out people that, aren't being real. And I think with Alex Rodriguez, I think it was a case of that he wasn't real. And I think that, it's similar argument when you look at Russell Wilson. It's not real. Not every day is the greatest day.
And I wanted this Wilson stuff to be real. Remember, we talked about this a couple weeks ago. I'm like, oh, he's a cheesy, corny dad. Like, I was rooting for that to be it. No, I think he's a fraud. I don't know what he's like when he's at home with Sierra and his kids, or he's hanging out with his boys or his buddies or whatever. But he seems like a fraud, and it's very A-Rod-esque.
Yes. I think we nailed it. Let's give away a jersey, shall we?
Can we please?
We got a Lendo white jersey. Can we pop it up, boys? Up on the screen for everybody that's watching on the app right now or watching on social media. What do you need to do? Download the Bettor Sports Network app. Register. We've talked about that. And registration costs you absolutely nothing. It's free. When we open up the contest, just hit that fun button. You have to be 18 years of age or older. Winners within the last 90 days are not eligible. It's courtesy of getinthegame.com and Bettor Sports Network. Coach, do you want to hit the and call for it? The contest beginning?
Boom. It has started now. And remember, we are keeping receipts. So any of you that have mocked us, any of you that have mocked anyone at all, we got the receipts.
Listen, it's a timely jersey as well, because did you see that Lendell White story that came out the other day?
No, what did I miss? I missed
about
this
when he was at USC.
No, what did I miss?
That he with Lendell White, that when he was at USC at his apartment, that he found a bag with $150,000 in it.
Yeah, I mean but who amongst us hasn't had that happen to them? I don't.
Dude, I started searching my closets.
I walked out my front door a couple days ago.
Where are the bags? Donna, where are the bags? Let me go look, see if there's any money in there. Imagine just walking in, being you're at USC, and that was for everybody that's too young. I mean, that USC team was, loaded.
Ridiculous.
They were ridiculously talented.
Lendell White was not that important because of Reggie Bush, even though Lendell White ended up becoming a pretty solid NFL player.
Yeah, he was their goal line back. He was their short yardage back.
Yep.
That's what Lendell White was, to the point where they took him off the field on that short down play. Took Reggie Bush off the field, short down play, and ran Lendell White, and he got stuffed at the line by Texas. And then Vince Young did his thing, and the Texas Longhorns won that Rose Bowl and won that national championship. So, found $150,000 in a bag.
What's crazy is it wouldn't matter now, right? With NIL being okay.
No.
It's kind of okay. You go back to the movie Blue Chips, and that was right. Blue Chips was great. One of my favorite parts about Blue Chips was all the extra basketball players that are in it that were actually real basketball players. Randomly Bobby Hurley, Calbert Chaney are in it. It was great. What a good movie.
I love that. It was terribly acted, but it was a fun movie.
Yeah, it wasn't a great. Why? Shaq was awesome. Penny was fantastic.
Who was the other guy that they had? He played at Indiana.
Yeah, Matt Nover.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good Paul. Look at you. The basketball mind of Keith Arizari. That's a great Paul.
I almost missed that one too. I'm like Matt Nover.
There you go. Very nice. Well done. So the contest is open. Hit that fun button. Lendell White jersey we're giving away, courtesy of getinthegame.com and us right here at the Bettor Sports Network. Let's talk a little bit of baseball, because from a kind of storyline and from a handicapping perspective, game one of the World Series, it's been a while since these two teams have seen the baseball field, but it's going to be game one down in Houston tonight. Verlander on the mound for the Stros, Nola on the mound for the Philadelphia Phillies. Philadelphia is plus 140 on the money line. The Astros are minus 166, and the total in the game is sitting at 6.5. And right now, Keith, it is juiced to the over, sitting at minus 128 according to FanDuel.
Yeah, I think conventional wisdom is that couple days off favors pitchers more than hitters. Hot bats like Bryce Harper, like Jeremy Pena might cool off a little bit. That's conventional wisdom. My lean in this one would be to, dip your toe in and get out. Matt Stryker says this all the time on Bettor's Eye, dip in and get out. First 5 under 3.5 runs is at minus 120 on BetMGM. That would be something I would look at. And then one of the plays that I always tend to give, and I know Sharapan calls it the KI. So we go Astros money line, and then let's buy the total up. Since I don't think a lot of runs are going to be scored, I'm going to give myself a little bit more leniency here. We go under 9.5. And again, if you're going with the home team, it means you're leaning towards an under because there's 3 less outs that'll happen. Get you up to plus 110. And just kind of crunching through some of the postseason numbers. This will obviously be something you can tell that I'm going to give out on Bettor's Eye later today. The Astros, during the postseason, the over has only hit once in the 7 games they've played. During the regular season, they were under 93 times. They pushed 9. And the Phillies tend to play a little bit more towards the over, but I'm going to trust Verlander to keep this total a little bit lower. And then actually like both of these bullpens. So I think that's where the game total of 6.5 scares me a little bit, because I feel like this ends up being something like a 4-3 type of game, something in that effect. So the over might hit, but I'm not comfortable with it. So that's how I can buy down the under.
All right, let me ask you, are you concerned at all the way that Verlander has looked so far? Got knocked around against Seattle.
Looked fine against the Yanks, no?
Well, he struggled early. The Yankees had him on the ropes earlier. I mean, he settled down, and that was Verlander. Now, that's a credit to him, but it was also the inept Yankee lineup, too, not being able to take advantage of him having on the ropes. Seattle just knocked him out of the game. They're a little concerned about the Philadelphia Phillies. The thing I'd be a little interested to see is Philly comes into this offensively unbelievably red hot. How does that break?
But they're home run happy, right? So that's sometimes that doesn't translate over, right?
No, that's my point, right?
Yeah.
So you look at it, unbelievably hot offensively, hitting home runs, Hoskins, Harper, everything, right? So, hot against the Cardinals, hot against the Braves, hot again, once again against the San Diego Padres in the NLCS. Now you have this long break in before Game 1 of the World Series, and you're facing what is going to be the Cy Young Award winner in the American League. If Verlander is great, and his dominant self, I wonder how cold do those Phillies bats. Like, I get concerned about Philadelphia long term in this series. If the positive vibes we've seen from Philadelphia, if they lose a game, say tonight, 3-1, and you see a lot of strikeouts, or 4-1, 5-1, whatever it might be, but they can't can't hit the ball over the fence and can't get their offense on track. I'm a little concerned about how hot they were and the break that they've had coming into Game 1.
I agree. I think that for a team like the Phillies, they probably would have rather have, finished the series up on Sunday and been playing the World Series on Tuesday or Wednesday. This long layoff, I think, hurts them a little bit. Also, almost because you can buy into your own press clippings a little bit. People are starting to talk about them as the underdog story. They remind us of the 2019, Washington Nationals. Like, there's all that. So I know that Verlander has not been good in the World Series. Did you get a chance to actually look up his numbers in the World Series? Because they're bad. I have them in front of me.
Let me hear.
7 career World Series starts. He's 0-6, 5.68 ERA, in 38 innings has given up 24 earned runs.
Yeah, he's been bad. Yeah, it's terrible. I mean, think about that. I mean, you're talking about an all-time great pitcher. I mean, that is horrific. Now, how much does that play into tonight when you're handicapping, Keith? Or how much should it be for the person at home? For those that are listening to us right now, looking at that, do you look at that and say, oh, yeah, I mean, he can't handle the big moment? Or do you say, well, this is going to be redemption time for Verlander?
My gut is redemption time. I do think that when you get to a certain age, and I think he probably realizes this is maybe his last opportunity, I think they're like certain players are press, right? And you get that tightening, your butt cheeks, clench up a little bit. I feel like watching him this year, even watching some of the interviews as well, and talking to some of the people from MLB Network that have been around him and around the Astros, it seemed like there's a little bit more of a calmness about him. I think he's going to be good tonight. Now, I don't know if he's going to be a world beater tonight, but that's where I also think the first 3, 4, 5 innings, you might even go in under on the first 3 if you wanted to do that. I think the first couple innings, the bats are going to be slow. The arms are going to be crushing it. I think you could look at the strikeout props for both these pitchers. Now, the Astros don't strike out often, but Nola over 5.5 at -110. He has 6 or more strikeouts in 8 consecutive starts. And then for Verlander, he's topped 6 strikeouts in 3 of his last 4 starts, but that's heavily juiced depending on the book, anywhere between -150 and -160.
Yeah, so I'm going to lean in off of that conversation. I think Verlander is going to pitch really well tonight.
Yep.
I like the Astros to win Game 1 against Nola. I think Verlander, despite the fact his World Series stats have been horrific, I'm looking at his strikeout numbers based on the fact that I think that the Phillies are obviously a home run hitting team. Verlander has shown you the ability, or did against the Yankees, be touched up early, be able to settle down. I like Verlander 8 or more strikeouts tonight. At
8 or more?
8 or more strikeouts.
What site do you have 8 or more on?
I have on FanDuel.
So you're buying up on the strikeouts because his number is at 6.5, right? 5.5, right?
Yeah, I'm buying up. So
Wow.
I'm buying up on 2 Verlander strikeout props.
So then if you're going to do that, like make it better for yourself, that if you're really going to place this bet, then pick the Astros to win and put that together with a Verlander strikeout prop.
No, I
and you're
will.
gonna get
Yeah, no, I
very
will.
good
But,
money.
right, individually, I think Verlander is going to go for 9 strikeouts tonight.
Nice.
So
And if that happens, I think the Astros win this game, like you said. I think they win, maybe 4-2, 3-1, 5-2, something like that.
yeah, so I'm kind of heavily on Houston. So I've looked at Verlander 8 or more strikeouts, Verlander 9 or more strikeouts. He's at plus 430. I'm not going like a full unit on that, but I
Plus
dabble into that.
430 on 9 strikeouts, huh?
Yeah, plus
Wow.
430 on 9 strikeouts. The other thing I like tonight is there were 2 Astro hitters that were, and this is more of a gut, right? But there are 2 Astro hitters that were really quiet in the ALCS. After having, and one of them having a huge impact in the Seattle series, and that being Yordan Alvarez.
Yep.
And Alvarez tonight to hit a home run is plus 285. Search around trying to find your better number if you can. Maybe you can get 3-1, maybe it's 350, whatever it might be. I think Alvarez goes deep tonight.
I'll get on BetStamp for you. I'll get you the best numbers.
Yeah, I think Alvarez goes deep tonight. So I like Alvarez to hit a home run. I like Verlander. I love the Astros. And improve that money line bet. I wouldn't lay the 1.5 if you wanted to do that. I think they probably win this by 2 or more runs, but I'm going to parlay and look at the money line bet on the Astros and the Verlander strikeouts.
All right, Yordan, your best number is on Caesars plus 325. Actually, no, Bet Rivers is actually plus 330. And then for some of the other books, you got BetMGM 3-1, DraftKings 280, and FanDuel plus 285
Beautiful.
for Yordan. Who's your MVP in this series? And because I feel like we have to do it today because I don't want to see anything happen tonight and this weekend before we get back together. I have a guy I'm looking at.
All right, you go first.
So I think the Astros are going to win this series, right? So I think you got to pick an Astro here. And Alvarez isn't giving me enough odds, shortest odds for the Astros. I'm not sure it's going to end up being a pitcher. I think it's Jose Altuve, 13-1 odds. He went 0 for 25 to start the postseason. Then he reached base 3 times in Game 4 versus the Yankees. We saw in Game 3 he was starting to hit the ball a little bit harder. He has a pedigree, has a track record. So you give me 13-1 odds on a guy that's been there and done it before. He would be my best value play, Altuve.
I like Altuve. What is Alvarez right now?
I had it this morning. I actually have it on a different sheet. Hold on.
Because I'm trying to find it. I can't find it right here.
I'll give it to you right now. I'm on BetMGM since we were. Yordan Alvarez is 6-1. Bryce is 7-1. Verlander 10-1. Tucker 10-1. Bregman 10-1, and then Framber and Schwarber 11-1. Then you get down to Altuve, Nola, Jeremy Pena's 18-1 if you believe anything there. If you think Hoskins going to hit, let's say you think Philly's going to win and Hoskins hits another 3 home runs in this series, 18-1 odds on Hoskins.
Yeah, I'd roll. I'd take Pena at 18-1.
There you go. Now, the only thing is on that, history would lend itself to it not happening. Only 7 times since 1980 has someone won the LCS MVP followed by the World Series MVP. So he's trying to become the 8th guy to do it.
Yeah, no, and he's 18-1. I just
I'm not doubting you. I'm just throwing out.
I get it, and that's why he's 18-1. But there's nothing not to like about the way that he goes about doing it. So I would take Pena at 18-1. I dabble in Verlander at 10. I dabble in Alvarez at 6.
Okay.
Because I think the Astros are winning the series.
Yeah, I think the Astros win the series in 5 or 6.
And to an extent here, Keith, I understand Houston is hated. I'd feel really happy for Dusty Baker if they win a World Series.
Me too. I'll give you another cool play that you can get. It's on BetMGM. We're going to give it out later today as well. It's called the Game/Series Double. You can find it on the All Bets page on BetMGM. So you can pick who's going to win Game 1, and then you can pick who's going to win the series and put it together. So if you believe the Astros are going to win Game 1, which we both do, and if you believe the Astros are going to win the series, which we both do, actually get it to -115. So then you don't have to worry about how long the series goes. It just means they win tonight and they win the series.
Beautiful. Love that.
So
Love
that's
that.
a fun one.
By the way, but off of the baseball here for a second, we got to pat ourselves on the back because we hashed out a prop.
Oh, the basketball one?
Yes, we hashed out a parlay yesterday that hit in the Mavericks and Nets game because we were talking about the fact of, we threw out some NBA plays and, the Mavericks over, gave you also a hockey play between the Blackhawks and Oilers over the 6.5. I mean, that game was tied up at 3 in the second period. But we hashed out a same game parlay in the Mavericks and Nets game in Brooklyn last night where we went Durant 30 or more points, Kyrie 30 or more points, and Luka 30 or more points. And it was plus 765?
Plus 745, and I got receipts.
Beautiful. Look at that.
I played it.
Yes.
I did play it.
And Baby J hit it as well.
Did he?
Yes.
Oh, let's go, Baby J. Yeah, so we both hit that one. Good. And but the football one that we gave out, hold on. That one ticked me off because we had that. If Gus doesn't get hurt and Drake gets a touchdown, so the plus 514, the Gus Edwards anytime touchdown, that's the only leg that missed. Brady had over 250. Lamar Jackson had over 40 rushing yards. Godwin had over 50 receiving yards. Gus Edwards had the over 40 rushing yards, but we missed the Gus Edwards anytime touchdown. That one was at plus 514, so we missed one leg. That annoyed me.
Edwards doesn't get hurt, you hit that. But listen,
I think so.
You land and you hit a plus 745 same game parlay on
Pretty
3
happy.
players going for 30 or more points. Congratulations to Wicks 10 John.
Johnny
10
Wicks.
John. There you go. He is the proud winner of a Lendell White autographed Tennessee Titans jersey. It is an absolute thing of beauty. It's courtesy of gettingthegame.com and us right here at Bettor Sports Network. Unbelievable giveaways here at Bettor Sports Network. Unbelievable content as well. Congratulations, Wicks 10 John. You won that. That is going to be tremendously framed. An autographed Lendell White jersey, Tennessee Titans. Beautiful baby blue, the dark navy blue, the white lettering. Oh, it's just.
How much does it cost nowadays to frame a jersey?
I'd say probably around 3.
Yeah, I was going to say like 250, 300.
Yeah.
It's worth it.
Depending on what kind of glass you get.
And you got to do it the right way, too. Like, you can't just throw it in a frame. You got to have it folded correctly and pinched onto the,
Correct. Yeah. It's got to stay, it takes a while. It's got to be ironed out so it's nice and flat.
Yeah.
Yes. Ernie, in this economy, Ernie, let's not get into the economy.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, Ernie, come on.
We'll come back.
Ernie, go take a lap. Go run the stairs.
Yeah, Keith Arizari. Keith's got, or should I say Coach Sala, has got player props coming up for Week 8. We'll get into those. Dave Sharapan will join us at the bottom of the hour. Congratulations once again to Wicks 10 John. He wins the Lendell White jersey, courtesy of gettingthegame.com and us right here at the Bettor Sports Network.
Bettor Sports Live with Rick Kamla. That's 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific on Bettor Sports Network.
Andy Reid is the best current coach in the NFL. He's better than Belichick. Belichick has lost his way. He's better than Tomlin. He's better than Harbaugh. He's better than Shanahan. He's better than McCarthy down in Dallas. He's better than all of the gangster NFL coaches right now. Sean McDermott up in Buffalo, he's better than all these guys. Andy Reid is the greatest gangster that we have at head coach in the NFL right now. And I understand that you're saying, well, Belichick is the GOAT, Cam. How can that be true? Now you're bringing up old stuff. Bill Belichick can't draft anymore, okay? Talk to me. Nick Chubb, Sony Michel. Talk to me. DK Metcalf, Debo Samuel versus N'Keal Harry. Okay, talk to me. This dude has lost his way. Remember the year when he should have bottomed out and just tanked, but he couldn't, and he went and got Cam Newton, and they were a mediocre team, right? He's lost his way. And not that he can't coach up a good defense and that kind of thing, but overall, he's lost his way. Andy Reid's an absolute badass. They draft great. He's a great coach, makes the right decisions, when to go for it, when to kick, when to punt. The guy's the man.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com.
I hate the stupid unsportsmanlike conduct. As long as you're not disrespectful to the opponent, you should be allowed to celebrate.
How I used to say it, and to bring up, because now basketball starting to bring up personal.
Oh, dude, it's even worse than basketball, isn't it?
So Dikembe Mutombo used to get teed up in the 2000s. In the 90s, they didn't give a crap. 2000s, though, when they tightened up the rules, they used to tee him up more when he did the Dikembe finger wag. But they wouldn't tee him up if he did it to the crowd instead of looking at, like, Eton Thomas, like one time I remember, and doing it right to him, or when his back was turned, doing it right to him. If he did it to the crowd, they would never call it. And so that makes me wonder if these players, while they want to talk a little smack, maybe they should flex towards the crowd than at the player who they're standing over. Or whatever.
I guess.
I know it's soft, man.
It is soft.
Because you know what?
Like we're gonna give 15 yards for that,
bro. They think that want to know why they're paranoid. They think that's gonna turn into a fight.
See, I disagree with that. That's not gonna start a fight.
I agree with you. They don't agree with
It's
us.
one thing. Okay, if you spit in someone's face or say something derogatory, like about their family or something,
right?
Yeah, that can incite it. But if you're just like, yeah, I made that play. What? You know what I mean? Like, again, they know the rules. You got to know you're going to get flagged. You have to have discipline. But, like, I don't know. I have no problem with celebration as long as it's not disrespectful.
What's disrespectful?
It's interpretation, and that's my problem. Watch, it's going to cost someone in a big playoff game, and that's when people are going to go crazy. There'll be a third down play. Someone makes a pass breakup, and they're in someone's face. They're going to throw a flag. It'll extend the drive. That team scores, wins the playoff game because of it. You need something drastic for it to really leave an imprint, and I hope that doesn't happen to mine.
Better Sports Network is betting, fantasy, collectibles. It's sports talk done better.
Download Thrive Fantasy in the Apple app and Google Play stores, or visit thrivefantasy.com. Prop up with Thrive Fantasy this season.
Love your style, you not crazy. Mess with your soul like ether. Teach you the king, you know you.
Got something across the belly.
No
I
idea.
prove you lost already.
No idea.
No?
No, continue the rap though. Maybe I'll get it. Let me hear.
It's Nas. Ether. Come on. Oh, Jay Allen was trying to hop in there. He's like, I know the answer. I know it. Please. Click, click. Typing really fast. Queensbridge's finest. Moose, have you ever seen the movie Belly?
No.
Nas and DMX, Method Man's in it. Is
it good?
I mean, it's like bad, but good. Yeah.
I'm
Who
sorry,
won't contest me, huh? I'm the King Dundada. When they come try to get into his house. Yeah.
Baby J's killing me on the chat session. I'm sorry, I'm killing you. I don't know what to tell you. Want me to lie? No, I've not seen Belly.
No. I think he was upset you didn't know Nas either. Is
that on Netflix?
I wonder if Belly is on Netflix.
Apple TV. Can I watch it tonight? Not with the kids, obviously, but can I watch it tonight?
No, you should totally watch that with the kids. Exactly. No. Yeah, definitely watch that with your kids.
I can't watch that with the kids.
So I remember, I think it came out in
like that's great, right?
Just all right, boys. Let's have some popcorn. Hey guys, Halloween's right around the corner. We have some extra candy. Let's have some candy. You get some Skittles, you get this, and let's watch Belly. And yeah.
So I was driving the kids to school this morning, right? And they got to be there at and we usually stop off at Donut Delight. I get them breakfast on Friday mornings. They all like butter rolls and a donut, right? And then we have like a 25-minute ride to school. And so I drop them off, but we get into the car. I turn the car on and it's on like Sirius, right? And all of a sudden there is the Cardi B song. I'm like,
been there. Yep.
I'm like, shut it off.
Been there.
I'm like, shut it off.
I think the worst one for me once was, so I like to listen to Netflix as a joke radio. Like I don't know if you ever do this, Channel 93. It's really fun channel. They do
No, I have not. Okay.
And you're in the car so much. So sometimes you just want to laugh, right? So I put on the Netflix is a joke radio. They play the best comedy specials. And sometimes it's like the really old stuff. You get like Chappelle and stuff like that. But then you get a lot of the new stuff too. Like Jimmy Carr, who I find funny, but he is like the dirtiest, raunchiest comedian out there. Every once in a while, I will play that in the car by myself. And you forget to change the channel before you leave. And like car turns on and it's like the raunchiest thing being said. And you're like, no, please stop. Oh, yeah.
And then kids hear everything. They won't ask right away.
Nope.
Like
they
kids
wait.
are smart. They'll wait.
Yeah.
Like, Daddy, the other day we were in the car and they said that. What is that? I'm like, don't worry about it.
When she said you want a freak, what did she mean, a freak?
Yeah, exactly.
Your mother.
Yeah, exactly. We'll talk
Get out of here.
Hey, who wants some candy?
Yeah. Hey, kids, I got a Reese's Fast Break for you.
Yeah. Before Sharapan joins us, Keith,
Yep.
let's run through them because you're going to be on Tops on Sunday, and you're going to be at, when are you on MLB Net, MLB
7:30 tonight, and we're MLB.com, MLB.TV, and I think Apple TV Plus tonight.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so we're on 7:30 to 8. I think I'm hopping on MLB tonight at like 6 o'clock tonight, but that's not officially confirmed yet.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, let's get into some player props before Sharapan joins us for the NFL this weekend.
Yep.
What
First one that was jumping out to me on DraftKings, -115 for A.J. Brown, over 66.5 receiving yards. This is twofold, right? Like when you're looking at this, you're looking at who the person is playing against and how they've been playing. 67 or more receiving yards, 5 of his last 6 games. Seems like he has a great connection with Jalen Hurts. They know each other, and the Steelers are allowing 209 yards to wide receivers per game this season.
All right, so A.J. Brown over 66.5 receiving yards. All right, number 2.
Jalen Waddle, assuming he's healthy, and again, this is something you'd have to pay attention to, and the book has already seen this, right? So it opened up at 67.5 receiving yards. It's now down to 64.5. So read through the tea leaves as you will, but -115 also. And Jalen Waddle, whenever Tua is on the field, he's lights out. And even with the Skyler kid, he was fine. 129 yards, 88 yards the last 2 games combined. So 129 in one, 88 in the other. I'll go the over 64.5 receiving yards.
Yeah, I like that, as the Dolphins are a 3.5-point favorite on the road in Detroit. All right, number 3.
Derrick Henry. Let's go with the king. And we're going to go over 98.5 rushing yards, and it's juiced a little bit at -120. So the way to fix this, if you don't like that, oh, by the way, he's topped 100 rushing yards in 3 consecutive games. But if you don't love that number, check your books and find out and see if you can get the rushing and receiving yards combined together. My guess is it's going to be around 108.5, around 109.5. I would probably play it to about 109.5, and I'd feel comfortable.
Okay. How about the next one?
Give me Alvin Kamara. I know there's some trade rumors running around. I don't believe in any of those. Go Kamara over 61.5 rushing yards. Again, this is something that if you wanted to try to combine the rushing and the receiving yards, that is a play for you. But also just as simple as this. I'm looking at the Raiders, and I'm seeing a team that's given up 100 or more rushing yards in 4 of their last 6 games.
Yeah, playing that game for me is the Raiders are a 1.5 favorite on the road in New Orleans. I love the over in that game of 49.5. The Saints are sticking with Andy Dalton at quarterback. I think they'll be able to move it on the Raiders. I think the Raiders will be able to move it on the Saints. I really like the over in that game at 49.5. All right, what's number 5?
I'll give you one more, and it's 2 players that I like in this one. It's the Buffalo game. How about we go Gabe Davis over 57.5 receiving yards? You say, Keith, why not just go Stephon Diggs? Well, Jair Alexander is probably going to travel with Diggs, which means it opens the field up for Davis, and the number is at 57.5. -109 on Caesars was the best number that I could find as of last night, and Davis tops this pretty routinely. And I'm going to go all out here. How about just Josh Allen over 323.5 rushing and passing yards combined?
I like that. How exactly did the Buffalo Bills not blow out the Green Bay Packers on Sundays? They're sitting as a 10.5-point favorite. Let's welcome in Dave Sharapan. Look at him. Oh, look at that hat, the jersey, the blue, the Philly P. He's looking sharp. He joins us now as he joins Keith and I each and every Friday. Dave is with us. Good morning, Dave. How are you?
I didn't know we had Coach on today.
He looks good.
You got to give me the heads up. I would have dressed up a little more. I didn't know.
Listen, Dave Sharapan, all gas, no breaks. And there have been times that you have mocked my team. You've worn a Jets hat out of spite and sheer jest. Listen, I got receipts. I'm holding the receipts. I got them here, Dave Sharapan. Yeah, David Bartholomew Sharapan. We know all about you. We know about your history. We know about your past. I can dive in too. Just remember that, okay? All gas, no brakes. Go Jets.
Sorry, Coach. You're right. I was bashing Jets fans. I've been one of your biggest advocates, sir. I've been telling everybody after about the second week that your team is for real. I've been going on shows all across the country the world, my own podcast, saying the Jets are the side 3 weeks in a row. So I stand corrected, sir. I apologize for all of the heat that I brought on. But all I was doing was bringing people from the streets, from the places, from the desert out here in Las Vegas to Jets Kingdom. Try my best, sir.
Jets, Jets. Remember
Let's
that.
go.
All right, this headset bothers me. I'm taking it off.
I would
okay?
imagine it
off.
does.
That's too tight.
Yeah,
looks-
it's yeah.
I mean,
it's-
I
looks
hope
very
Deutsch
heavy.
clips that. Deutsch clips that, please, Ernie, somebody. That just we'll run it on the socials all day. It's a new Twitter, apparently. I
Yes.
don't know. I don't see. It looks like the old Twitter to me, but it looks the same. We'll blow this thing up all over socials. I don't
Yes,
know.
with-
What's going
with
on.
Elon
Okay, so
Musk.
here, watch. If it's raining,
Oh,
That's a good look right there.
yeah, if
It
it's
looks
raining,
good.
bad.
yeah. All right, we're gonna rock this for now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Moose, I'm sorry I didn't see Paul and
I
Judy.
know. It's
you know-
no, you don't have to apologize.
No, we were running
my dad
around.
my dad felt bad. He said we couldn't really connect. I said,
Well,
no,
he
no,
was
I-
very busy. I mean, he did the trip right, but I'm glad they're back.
He was all
and-
over the place. He saw 2 national parks. He was at the Hoover Dam. He went to the Grand Canyon. He was all over the place.
He ran a marathon too. I don't know if you know that or not.
Did he go to
no,
the
he did
club?
not.
He did the
That's what I wanna
Ironman.
know.
He
Yeah,
did
he was
not
at the
go to
club. He's like uncha.
No, he did
Yeah.
not
I
go to
just
the
wanted,
club.
I just wanted Ki to do the uncha.
Yeah, he got the glow sticks out. He's
That's it, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
Lord.
He's-
What are we doing?
I don't know. We're doing.
If I ever
doing
walked
radio
into a
here.
place and my dad was holding a glow stick, I'd be like, the world would end tomorrow.
Oh my god, I would pay money to watch your father at a dance club. Glow sticks, maybe. Remember when people used to put them in their mouth too, so then they smile and it's glowing.
Yes.
And yeah,
What was
and it's
wrong
like,
with those
oh, I
people?
don't know. I didn't do that.
Idiots.
I wasn't a
That's-
glow stick guy, not at all. I can
used to like
say that
That
firmly.
surprises me.
Nope, not a glow
Yeah.
stick guy.
You didn't. Yeah, listen. You were in some crowd
No,
waving
but
a glow
you could
stick.
see
at
it
some
because
point.
it's great. You're in very good shape. You know, you go out to the club, you oil and lather up, you know, and then
No.
you grab the glow sticks and you hit the dance floor.
No, but I would probably rock the low. I definitely would have rocked a low cut shirt. Yeah,
There's
I'm
no
thinking
doubt.
like a super V, a super
Yeah.
V.
No doubt.
You're
You did
walking
that.
in with a singlet. I'm thinking Keith's like a wrestler.
He's that guy in the group.
Yeah,
Moose, you're
he's
right. He's that guy. There's always one guy. In the
Wait, I
group
needed to
that
wear a
does that.
shirt to get into the club. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
There's always a
Yes,
wrestler.
Keith, you got to put a shirt on.
Right.
You're that guy in the group.
But what about sleeves?
Keith in his younger days walking up to girls. Do you know where the gym is at? I'm just trying to find the gym.
No, I would never have to ask that. They would know. They would know that I was already there. I'm waiting for the patented Dave. What are we doing? What are we
No,
doing
no,
here?
I'm enjoying the show. I'm just listening. This is
Are you
fine.
picking the Phillies tonight because you're wearing this?
Picking the Phillies in a series? You know that.
I know that, but are you picking the Phillies tonight?
I don't know yet what I'm doing tonight.
Because I got to
just
play
wanna-
for you if you're. I know you're picking the Phillies tonight, and I'm going to
Really?
interrupt you because you're dabbling.
What do you mean?
You're dancing around here.
What are you talking about?
I- you know,
How do you know what I'm picking today. You don't know anything.
I
Nobody
know a
does.
lot.
I say it every single tweet.
Nobody
name,
knows.
Nobody knows. That's what I'm saying.
See, I knew what you were going to say.
You did know that one.
What if I
wow,
give you
what's your
this,
play?
Dave?
What's your play? You got
On BetMGM, they're giving you the game/series double. So if you believe the Phillies are going to win the series, but maybe you think the Astros are going to win tonight, if you believe that, plus 550, Astros win game 1, Phillies win the series.
No.
Yep, plus 550. I knew that was going to be a play you'd like.
Take a ride. I'm
Right?
gonna have to take a ride. What's the opposite? What's the Phillies to win and the Astros to win the series?
Phillies win tonight, Astros win the series, plus 425. The worst odds you can get are the Astros win tonight and the Astros win the series. That's the only minus 115.
That's crazy because now, if you think the Astros should win tonight, first of all, the series price is minus 160. What's the series price?
It's been bouncing around. Is it minus one? I thought it was minus 190 now. Hold on. I'm sorry.
That's what it opened.
I don't see it on here now.
So you can
minus 190. Yeah, minus 190.
Okay, so you could get them to win the series with winning tonight minus 115.
Correct.
I don't want to call anybody out, but that price is wrong.
Right?
That's dangerously wrong. I mean, the series price is going to move to minus 280 minimum with a Astros win tonight. So you're getting them minus 115 if you think they're winning tonight. I mean, there's a lot of options on these. Legalization has changed so much.
Dave, so for those that, I mean, when you're looking at it and you say it's not right, explain to our audience why that's not right.
Well, I mean, it should be more expensive. This is almost like finding something on the sale rack that may or may not belong there, priced maybe incorrectly, but it's priced as such in the store, and you go and you pick up the item and you go to the register and you pay for what it's marked as. Yeah, this is like finding an Armani suit that's $100. I mean, just trying to put it in Keith's terms so he understands.
No, I get it as well.
$1,000. Yeah, $1,000.
Right. So, I'm trying to think of what the price would be, but I know it would be more expensive than that.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Have to do the game one price, parlay to the series, see what that works out as. Maybe it comes out to close to 115. I don't know.
Yeah.
I got to do the math.
So you haven't played anything in the series or tonight at all yet?
I have, full disclosure, 100-1 Phillies to win the World Series.
Amazing.
75-1 Phillies to win the World Series. 50-1 Phillies to win the World Series. I have multiple.
You already got you got equity in it already.
And I have Astros to win the World Series. 9-1, 5-1, 450.
So did you do the math? Like, do you come out on top no matter what?
Yeah.
Okay. And now it's just a matter of how much you make.
Yeah, but I want, like, the Phillies upside was so high, and I was really rooting for the Guardians on the other side. If it would have been Guardians Phillies, I told you, you're flying out to Vegas.
Yep.
I put you up in a hotel. We're going out to eat. I told you, Mark, you could bring Paul and Judy back. That would have been fine. I want you to bring Donna for sure. Keith's bringing Jody. It's all good. It's great. But the Guardians don't get there, so now we can just go to dinner. But I can't do the rest of the stuff. Yes, the Phillies' position is better.
Yeah.
When a favorite wins, it's almost like for me, the position the prices. I was stubborn and didn't buy Houston over Phillies. I didn't buy Houston over Padres, the ones I really liked. I didn't buy them at the time because I was like, the price is not enough. It was only like 75-1. I got a little bit greedy.
All right, so Dave, so now that you're holding those tickets, right? Tonight's game one. Are you feeling good? Because you obviously want the Phillies to win, right? So because of that, are you feeling good about or confident that the Phillies are going to win this series?
I feel like there's going to be a split in games 1 and 2. So if they win tonight, they are legitimately in the driver's seat because they got their big dog, big horse Wheeler going in game 2 with a shot to go up 2-0. Now, it's happened before where the visiting team has won and then, someone has gone home and won 3 games and brought it back and won 4 in a row. You just put Houston in such a highly leveraged position if you do. So a split would be great. Winning both would be just outstanding. And really I think I would start to look at some series like Houston backup tickets just in case because the price will finally get to where I want it. But if Verlander comes out and wins the game dominant, they got Framber tomorrow, a lefty to nullify their lefties. Houston could win both games. That's why I've talked myself into individual game bets. I still don't. I mean, it's 8:45 here. I don't know what I'm doing tonight. I don't know.
So Moose asked me this question, and I want to ask you the same one too. Verlander's struggles in the World Series, 7 career starts. He's 0-6. I mean, he's been bad in the World Series.
Yeah.
Does that lend itself to anything tonight? Like that track record, does that matter from a betting standpoint?
I mean, I think you can talk yourself into it. I know in the risk room, it means absolutely nothing.
Okay.
I mean, it means absolutely nothing into the number, into how you move the bets, how you move the it might cause a little bit of bias in some guys' heads or something, but I think that's one of the cool things that one of the many traits that I got out of sitting there and, taking millions of dollars in bets and stuff. Like, you just kind of get numb to that emotional part of it, and you just sit there and move the numbers. So it didn't come into play in making the number. That's for sure. Big
Gotcha.
favorite tonight. So no, not really.
Okay.
Dave, before we get into the football, I just got a kind of look ahead question for you out in Vegas, because they do the draw on Monday for the Breeders' Cup in Keeneland, right? And the Breeders' Cup is Friday and Saturday in Keeneland. I'm a big horse guy.
I love it. I'm
a huge
horse guys
player.
are phenomenal.
Yeah, I love it. Right. I grew up. My dad is a huge horse player. My uncle Pete, God rest his soul, was a huge horse player. So I grew up going to the track when I was a kid. But I'm curious, how big of an event is that for the books, the Breeders' Cup? It's
really fun, and the characters that it brings in. I love the horse players. I went to the track as a young person, as one of the guys that ended up being a book and a barber and all this other things. Like, he took me to the track, and I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. I'm famous for picking the second and third horses. Whoever I pick finishes place and show. I'm really good at that. I just can't get into the winner spot. Vegas for the Breeders' Cup for a horse player is awesome, because Friday you get your own. You're in your own world. I mean, if you get set up, we used to have guys come in every single year, and they're playing. They're playing every race. They're playing every track. They're loving it. And then you got the football Saturday and the football Sunday to offset it. I mean, I've I've taken bets on Breeders' Cup Saturday that were, guy puts 50,000 through the window that day. Like, they're coming up and firing. It's fun. I was always rooting for them when they were playing, because it's a pari-mutuel thing.
Yeah.
When it was out in California, we had a ton of people out here.
You did?
Okay. It was weird. They came here. They went there one day and came here one day. Like, it was nuts. So I don't know. I'll be out and about. I'll see if we can catch a picture or two with some.
I want to see that, because I know buddies that have gone up for the Derby and say it's unbelievable. And the Breeders' Cup, I mean, there's just days where horse racing actually draws attention. Breeders' Cup is those 2 days, Friday and Saturday, out in Keeneland this year, is going to be one of those. It's people are going to be into it.
Oh, for sure.
When is the Belmont? When is that one again? I always forget.
June.
Yeah, June. 5 weeks.
That's the last one of the three, right?
That's the last leg of the triple.
Right. Derby, Preakness, and then Belmont.
Correct. Span of 5 weeks.
Guy. Look at that. This guy's not even a horse guy.
Yeah. So Dave's gonna fly out to New York, and that's the day that we do a show somewhere. Moose. Moose would be in his glory if we did a Friday morning show.
We could do it from Belmont Park.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, you know a guy?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
No, Moose knows more than a guy. All right.
I know. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know people within Irish. Yeah.
Do you know anyone at Saratoga? I've never been to Saratoga. I've heard Saratoga's the place to go.
Saratoga, absolutely.
Saratoga's
great. You've never been to Saratoga?
I've never been to Saratoga. I need to get there. Dave, I've been to the California tracks. Del
Mar, Santa Anita.
Del Mar is one of the most just coolest places I've ever been. You feel it when you walk up. You're like, wow. Then you get inside the grandstand, the water. Oh, it's amazing. Santa Anita, Los Al. I've been to all the tracks in California. Been to the tracks in Florida, Gulfstream.
Yep. No, we got to get you out to Saratoga. But I agree with Keith. Next June, we should do a remote that Friday.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
I'm in. You
that
don't
would
have to tell me twice.
Awesome.
Yeah,
we could get out there early.
Can we get fancy hats and stuff too?
That's the only way I would do this, by the way, is if I'm going to dress like I belong.
On the there's a diner. There's a place where all the trainers and jockeys eat in the morning by the barns. We'll go there, get breakfast.
Look at Moose. Do you see this, Dave? He's like, And we're gonna meet my guy Joey. That's what Moose is gonna say, and Joey's gonna take us into the back room, and we're gonna get the real meal, not just the regular order.
We'll get passes.
Yep.
We'll get passes to walk and walk around by the barns, by the
Oh,
stable.
what's better than walking by the barns with the horses and smelling
my
all
God,
the
it's
the hay and all the
out,
it's the
coming
best.
off the track.
Did you guys really just say what's better than walking by the barn and like smelling the horses? I don't know.
Oh,
come on.
Nothing wakes you up. I'll tell you, nothing wakes you up.
Like some horse manure.
Manure wakes you up. More than
some smelling salts.
More than a triple espresso. More than smelling salts.
Woo,
You
that's
walk by
tangy.
a fresh pile of manure. Nothing wakes you up more than
nothing.
That's got some bite to it. Mm. Oh man.
All right, Dave, let's move away from the horses.
Yes.
What about the NFL this weekend? Anything that you're looking at line wise that you think is a little bit quirkier or strange?
I'll tell you what, I mean, when you look at the board, there's 3 games with a double-digit spread, right? Dallas is hosting Chicago. The Eagles are hosting the Pittsburgh Steelers. And Buffalo, the line is actually coming down, but it's 11 against Buffalo. The rest of the games are 3.5 or 2.5, or there's a couple 1.5s. Like, this is one of those weeks in the book you just literally put the line up and let the games book themselves. You don't have to do nothing. The NFL uncertainty, the NFL feels like it is complete guessing in half the games or more when you're betting these games.
Why do you
It's
say
hard.
that? Why do you say that?
Because when you put up a favorite and it flips like it did last night, everybody's trying to find the right side of that game. Ravens was the original favorite, flips the Buccaneers favorite. You watch the games. You could watch that game 10 times. I mean, the Ravens was the right side, but if there was a little bit more time in that game, the Buccaneers are probably going to win. It's so topsy-turvy, and so many games are coming down to one turnover, one call, whether it's a good call or bad call. I think it's really hard right now in the NFL. So, yeah, this is great for the books. The books had an unbelievable September.
So
Numbers
then
are coming out. It's very hard right now.
All right, so then, like from a sharp standpoint, we routinely hear about the sharp sides, sharp bets. Then, if the NFL is so topsy turvy right now, do the sharps go away from the NFL and start going to other sports, or are they still so sharp they're still going to hit their bets?
First of all, there's no sharps.
Okay,
All
that's
right?
fair.
There's guys that bet a lot of money. There's guys that win.
Yeah.
They don't even like being called sharp. But, the media has fabricated situations and stories.
It's like the word expert, right? Like, I know when I got hired at Topps, my title was listed as fantasy expert. And I said, like, I don't like that. Like, it should be fantasy analyst. That makes a lot more sense.
There you go. That's exactly what it is. Yeah. And that's why I say rhombuses and parallelograms, because nobody likes to be called a sharp or nobody likes to be called a square. So I picked 2 shapes that I like saying. They're a little bit hard to spell until you get used to it, but rhombuses and parallelograms, and no one else is saying it. So that's my unique thing. They're looking for the side. Okay. But you'll see them play the totals more than sides. In a week like this, when you see some line movement and stuff, they're probably on the totals more than they are on sides. They'll show themselves. They haven't shown anything yet. A lot of the people talk about the public has moved this number and this and that. I'm telling you guys, I'm telling everybody. I've been telling everybody for 2 decades and nobody listened to me because I wasn't on enough shows. Now I'm on every show. People still don't listen. The public doesn't move the number. Okay. I don't know who this public guy is. I don't know when he bets. I don't know when she bets. It doesn't move the number. The public never, ever moves a number. Okay. No matter how much money they bring, they don't move the number. The public also doesn't bet the Sunday NFL games on Tuesday or Wednesday. They don't. 90% of the money on bet on a game comes 2 hours or before the game kicks off. Like 2 hours, maybe just say the day of the game. Okay? 90% of the money comes the day of the game. So everybody got to relax with this line movement, trying to figure all this stuff out. Nobody knows why a line moves, even the guys in the room. You move the line to balance the money. That's it. You don't know why this guy's playing that. Sometimes they're playing stuff to set you up. It's a fake move. They want you to move the line because the limits open up on a weekend, and then the real play comes in. There's so many things that go on, and I just try to explain it so regular people understand it. But I mean, I spent 30 years taking bets behind a counter. Worked with some guys that were doing it where there was no counter. They were doing it out of the back of a laundromat and all this other stuff. They don't know nothing either. So I'm just saying, watch the line moves. Like, there's people actually giving out picks and stuff based on line moves and stuff. And I go, oh no, what are we doing?
Don't do that.
Pick your games. Don't do that. Don't do it.
Dave, is there somebody now that you're friends with that is like an exquisite handicapper that you look in, when he or she is picking one game one way, that's something that kind of draws your attention?
I mean, I've heard it all. I know so many people in the space, and I mean, I know a guy personally who went 18-1-1, picking 5 NFL games a week in the first 4 weeks. He went 18-1-1.
Wow.
He won the quarter prize at the Circa Sports contest. He won $100,000 by going 18-1-1. If you win the quarter, you win $150,000. Him and another guy split. Okay, so he got $100,000. The other guy got half, 50 or something. The way it's split up. He's 2-8 since.
Wow.
Like, so you ride until you don't. And it's hard to find that consistency. I got another guy. He was 23-7 so far this season. He had Tampa last night. I mean, he's 23-7 and picking 5 games a week every week. That's really good.
That's
great. I call him South Dakota Mike. South Dakota Mike is pretty sharp. Really sharp guy. Dead wrong side yesterday.
Yeah.
Had Tampa. So, no, yes. Gotcha. I talked to 100 people that I think are really good handicappers, and then I weigh it all out, throw it all out, and put my picks in. That's it.
Quickly, we got like 45 seconds left with you. Penn State, Ohio State. What do you got?
Oh man,
you're a Penn State guy.
Lisi.
Yeah, he was on. He was on this morning. I know.
He likes Penn State money line.
He said they're going to win outright.
Yeah.
I hope he's right. I think he's dead wrong.
Yeah.
I don't think Penn State's going to be able to score enough.
Yeah, me too. Hey, so I'll see you in 7 hours and 25 minutes. We're going to do some baseball.
The kid ain't texted me yet. I don't know what we're doing, but we'll get together and figure it out.
I think we'll talk baseball. Bettor's eye.
I think we can do it. I just need to know the time.
Dave,
you're on
my dad
7:40.
Said he wanted to say hello. Said sorry.
Hey.
Tell Paul and Judy that I said hello. I'll say it right here to them. Thank you for watching the show. I got you next time you're in Vegas. See you, Coach.
See you.
All gas, no breaks.
Good luck to the Phils. Good luck to the fighting Phils. Check out Keith, MLB Network. He's all over the place tonight. Enjoy the World Series. Coach Solid. Great job.
Too.
Coach, great job. You look awesome. Unbelievable.
Have fun on Monday.
Thank you, brother. Have a good weekend, everybody. Talk to you Monday at 10 right here, Bettor Sports Network.
Past the heartbeat, Dookie on the Ducati, Timberland, Khaled, Scotch.